Hello, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a podcast with me, Brittany Duncan, a millennial homemaker. Join me each week as I share all the things I've learned that make keeping your home, garden, and life running smoothly, all while working. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcasting app so you get the episodes downloaded straight to you every Monday. Now, on to today's episode. Hello, and welcome to a special bonus episode brought to you in partnership with Boise Tonic Co. Today, we're going to be talking about Skincare 101, really diving into what clean skincare means and what products we should consider using for different scenarios. I am definitely not the person to educate on this topic, so I brought on someone who is. Joining me today is Jacqueline Crawford, founder of Boise Tonic Co., which was born from the desire to reconnect the healing power of nature. In a world with toxic, overpriced ingredients, Jacqueline wanted to create something that was pure and potent with extreme affordability. Her artisanal skincare products are a tribute to ancient traditions crafted with organic and wild botanicals to nourish your skin and soul. Jacqueline, I am thrilled to have you on the podcast to dive into what natural skincare really is, who it's for, and how we can all work on our glow without breaking the bank. Welcome to the podcast.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, Brittany. Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was introduced to your products through the most wonderful care package that my great aunt and cousin put together for me as
so amazing. I love that.
It was so sweet. I was so surprised as like a welcome to motherhood treat, and it truly has been a treat. I have been loving them. Anyone who's listened to this podcast for a while knows that I am pretty strict about what I put in and on my body. And that being said, I'm also a firm believer that if it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter how clean it is. I'm not going to use it. And so it's been this constant battle in my adult life to find products that are clean, but that also work. And so I've been super pleased with the products that I've received from Boise Tonic Co, that they do work, that they're clean. And so I wanted to have you on to dive into your experience creating the skincare, but also to educate us about it. So I want to know what led you to start Boise Tonic Co.
You know, this business, it really depends on how far you want to go back. I'll make it as fast as possible. But this business started from a need for me. A lot of it came just like you. I just had a baby. I was looking for products not only for myself, but for my child as she got older. Prior to that, though, I mean, I had some amazing, beautiful work experiences. I ran a very famous music venue in New York. I ran a Hollywood restaurant that was like really big in name celebrities. And when I was living in Hollywood, I just woke up one day to the world. You know, you have that like epiphany moment when you kind of start being conscious about things. And I think I was like in my bathroom getting ready for work, and I realized like after my shower and my hair care and my makeup and then brush my teeth and then my perfume, like I probably had like 2,000 ingredients used on my body that day. You know what I mean? And that for me was like, this is not right. Like this can't be good. Like what is all this stuff? I started reading labels. And so at that point, I mean, this was 22 years ago, almost 20 years ago. I decided to start making my own conditioner, and then I started making my own lotion. And then, so at that point for me, it was more like just kind of trying to find things. And then I moved to Boise after realizing like I can't live the life that I want to start living in Hollywood. So I moved here. My sister and I opened a yoga studio, and I was doing the business end for her. She was doing all the teaching, and she's amazing. And then I started making elderberry and fire cider. And so this business really started with wellness. I've always been into kind of traditional herbal remedies, tinctures, things like that. And so I was selling them in winter only when mommies were like, or students were like sick and dealing with, colds and flus. And then I moved pretty far away from the studio and I had my baby. And so I was like, how can I make this business, something that's year round, not just seasonal? And I'd already started dabbling in soap. And so soap was my first thing. And then I just started learning, with my first baby, I was just starting to learn how things worked. I started with very simple oils. Really, I only wanted organic. I wanted raw. I wanted unrefined. I started deep diving on all these ingredients and what really actually works, bringing in what I know about plants, what I know about botanicals, and how those can influence certain things. And then I was like 36 all of a sudden, and I was having another baby, and I was like, I need skincare. And so every brand that I looked at that was already available on the market, I was like, why is this in there? Or, I would look at something and be like, $65 for 1 ounce. Like, this is mind numbing, And then if you get into a routine, which I'm sure we'll talk about, it's like you're spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month in hopes that something's going to work for you. So I started making my own things, and I started really kind of putting things together. And with my second child, he didn't sleep very well at night. And so I started teaching myself cosmetic chemistry. So that's when my business went from just pure basic. And I love offering both. I have very clean oils, butters, strict, you know, potent and functional. But over the last few years, now I'm 42, I wanted active. So I learned how to work with those in a way I'm using the highest quality still. Everything is super clean, but it's functional and it's active. So people that don't want to go crazy with, procedures or other things can still get functional, really amazing performance skincare from me. It's like local, it's clean, and it's meticulously made. So everything that goes into it, I'm looking at from top to bottom and scrutinizing. But it just develops like that over the time. It was like, I need something for me. I'm going to make it. My daughter wanted bath bombs when she was like 4. And I was like, there are no bath bombs out there that don't have fragrance or don't have SLS or don't have something like I don't want. And so it's like, I'm just going to make them with everything I do want. And so that's how everything gets created here. It all comes from a need, a customer, my imagination, or customer will be like, hey, I want something that's like this. And it's like, great. Like, let me think of something,
Yeah.
And it's just, it's such a passion, and it's such an honor to be able to do that. I don't know. Sometimes I just look at my job and my life and I'm like, how is this so amazing? Like, how am I so lucky,
Yeah.
So it's great. So that's really how it started. Everything comes from need. Everything comes from, oh, I want this, or I need this, or I wonder if I can do this. It's all kind of just like an experiment, really.
Yeah. Well, I just love that you jump into it. I mean, I was amazed. One, just being at the co-op in Boise, they have, I feel like, a really wide variety of your products, and I had a basic idea of what you carry, but I was looking there and I was like, oh my gosh, and like that's Boise Tonic Co, and that's Boise Tonic Co, and
I know.
oh, and she makes like cheek balms, and she makes perfume, and she like all these things that I hadn't realized. And then
I know.
on your website too, like off the top of your head, do you know how many products you have?
Yeah, so I have like, I hate saying it because I feel crazy, which is fine, but like I have like 265 different products, which is crazy. And I know I need to like limit my category down, but it's so hard because I'm literally like in love with everything I make. Like, it doesn't make it out for sale unless I'm full 100% sure it's going to help somebody or do something, or it's going to be amazing,
Yeah.
But I know I need to edit it down. And the co-op has been such a great supporter. I went in with just a few products. When I started this business, I was like, this is my goal. I've shopped there forever.
Yep.
Like, I'd love to be in the co-op. And then finally got in the co-op, and now it's like, I think I have 75 SKUs in the co-op. And it's just like,
So cool.
crazy and amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So if you're in the Boise area, go check
Definitely.
out the co-op there, because they've got lots. But then, okay, so with that and the wide product line,
Yeah.
we've talked offline about this, but there's this big, I guess, confusion that I have, and that I think,
I like that word. Confusion is a good word.
yeah, like a lot of listeners have, where it's, I feel like every magazine, every article, every influencer on Instagram is like, here's what your daily routine should be. Here's your weekly routine. Here's your monthly routine. Step 25, good luck, new mom.
Right, exactly. Step 200 today that you have to remember and get stressed out about if you don't. Yeah, I think there's a big misconception, and it's not even a misconception. I'll give it to you straight. Like, I am always transparency. I'm transparent on products, on why I'm making things, what I'm putting in things, and the industry. Everything is marketing. So if you're buying some new product that's like, oh, Age Defy with arnica, it's like 0.25% arnica infused in there, or extract in there. It's all marketing. And so the steps are just big brand marketing. A company obviously is going to want you to buy more. Like, if you can get a company to sell you their full 5-step routine instead of one of their 5-step or one of somebody, they're gonna make more money off you every month. They're gonna retain that cash flow, and that's why they do that. And I feel like a lot of people stress. I get so many customers that either are messaging me or they come in to shop for the first time if they're local, and they're like, "So I need this, this, and this, and this," and I'll look at them and I'll be like, "Why? Why do you think you need that?" And I'm straight happy up with them. Like, I will never oversell anybody. And I think that a lot of customers have mentioned, and they become friends, seeing the same people every month. They're like, I'm never going to oversell you. I'm not going to give you something that you don't need for no reason at all. So I'll look at your skin, and I do phone consults. Sending photos is great. And just getting a little bit of background info on what you're going through. And I'll tell you what I personally would recommend for you. And a lot of times it's like 1 or 2 things, not 5 things, not, you know. And sometimes if it is a few more steps, maybe it's not every day. Or if you're in more of like a reparative state, sure, there might be more steps. But everything is going to be everybody's different.
Yeah.
We all know that. And everybody's skin is different, and everybody's biome and environment reacts different. And so that whole 5-step routine is impossible to know unless, even if you go to sorry to say, but if you go to an esthetician to get a facial, she's also going to sell you on all the steps because she probably sells skincare there. And again, that's cash flow. It's something you're going to get committed to for at least 1 to 2 months to see if it works, potentially in her mind forever. And that's consistent money. And so they're going to sell you. That's the world we live in, unfortunately. But not everybody needs all those steps. I think the most important thing with skincare is you finding, and it's changes, which we live in Idaho. We are a seasonal environment. Most people do live in seasonal shifts, and shifting your skincare with seasons is very important. I feel a lot of people are like, I finally found something that worked and then it stopped working. It's like, well, what was going on when it stopped? Oh, it went from fall to winter, or it went from spring to summer. It's like, of course it stopped. Your environment changed. And so your skin is it's always trying to find like balance, right? And so if it's too dry and too humid or too cold and the wind, your skin is going to adjust over about a 28-day cycle to match that. And that's why a lot of people like overproduce or underproduce or start getting, redness or whatever. It's all trying to stay at a baseline, but your environment shifts, and so your skincare needs to shift with it to support it.
Absolutely. Gosh, that's when you say it, it seems so simple and like duh, but I'm like, yeah, I use the same things on my skin year round, and sometimes it's great and other times it's not, but it does. That makes sense. So with that in mind, I think I don't know. I mean, I guess, move away from the steps, but then also, like, I assume there's, like, certain categories that are pretty consistent, right? Like, cleanse. You probably need to wash your face no matter who you are. What's that look like?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's questionable. Really, if you're not wearing makeup every day and you're not like, you and I stay home probably a lot. You have a new baby, right? I work from home.
Yeah.
I think I only wear makeup when I'm going out to like an event, which is maybe once a month before work, like not even like a fancy event with my husband. It's like a work thing, and it's barely at all. Those days, sure, like I'll wash my face. I really like the idea of people that aren't, because you have to think about it also, depending on what your skin is like, washing your face every day, depending on what you're using. And I'm sure we can get into all those things, but like there are various cleansers, right? So some cleansers are oil cleansers, which can break down makeup and just really still support the skin without stripping it. A lot of people really like feeling that super clean, tight feeling when they wash their face before they put on their moisturizer or whatever. But for a lot of skin types, that cleansed feeling is stripping them too much. And so those are typically the very oily prone people.
Yeah.
And the reason that is because they're stripping it more, and their body trying to find baseline is like, send more oil. She's got no oil. So like, it's a fine balance. When I meet somebody new, I'm always like, what's your skin like? How would you say you are in the morning after you wash your face? How do you like wash? Like, what type of wash have you used before that you feel good about? And those kind of point me in the direction to like, to what people should use. Now, sure, you need to cleanse your face. There's environmental, whatever. When I'm saying you don't need to wash your face heavily, I mean, maybe a little oil cleansing, or just like I take a warm rag sometimes and just like do a quick wipe. I have a really amazing toner called Coastal. It's got peptides and ceramides in it. And I'll just rinse my face and then I'll just use that. It gets off a little dirt. It's not for that, but it's more for like the healing of the peptides. But it just feels so good and you feel bright after. And then I'm a big fan, say if you wash your face at night, which is where I would prefer somebody to wash their face, because throughout their sleep, they're going to be repairing and your body's healing and you have your night skincare on that helps keep you hydrated. But then you wake up, like, don't wash your face again. Maybe just do a quick thing if you have to, but you just stripped your skin and let it repair itself just to strip it again right when you wake up. You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of like wash at night. If you take a shower in the morning, maybe, you can kind of wipe your face fine. But like, I feel like keeping that biome healthy with those oils are what's going to set your skin up for just repairing itself and keeping your barrier really healthy. Like, as you age, I see a lot of even babies, moms are like, my son's skin's so dry, his eczema. And it's like, okay, well, how many times are you bathing him? I bathe him every day. I'm like, there you go. You're stripping these oils that are going to repair that out. Like, I don't think I gave my baby a bath for like the first 4 or 5 weeks at all, just so their body could like get used to what the world was like.
Yeah, that's something like we've been,
it's so hard though.
Yeah, feeling and like my fault too as well. Yeah, and we asked the pediatrician and we're like, excited for you, or like embarrassed about it. It's like at first we were bathing him like, once a week, and we felt like we were horrible parents for, and he was like, no, it's fine. It's like if he's visibly dirty, bathe him. And it was like, but you, as a mom, you're like, oh no, you should be bathing him like every day.
I know. It's funny when you become a mom, because so many things that you thought before are like, wait a minute, I don't know, like you question everything.
Absolutely.
It's a really fun learning experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same concept, your skin, just everything in your body. We are these amazing machines, and it's like a computer system and it knows what you need. And we get in the way. And so I think and makeup is fine, skincare is fine. Just like supportive is the key that like I keep in the back of my mind. Like, is this supporting your goal for skin? So if somebody comes in with like acne or whatever, like I'm not going to throw all these acids at all this stuff. I'm going to start simple, like 1 or 2 products, and then as it starts healing, then we add another product or something. Just it's like supportive steps. Nothing needs to be rushed. Everything takes time, especially with skin. You can start something, you really won't see the results, which is also frustrating, for at least a month. They say like a 28-day cycle, because that's about how long it takes for your body to catch up and reestablish that baseline in any environment.
Okay. So yeah, you're looking on a month-to-month basis, but then also seasonal.
So have you ever tried new skincare and then all of a sudden you're breaking out? You're like, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
But it's like, maybe it is. Like, you almost have to give it that time to let your body catch up, and then it could be the best thing for you. You never know, but you have to commit, which again is very frustrating, because if you spend all this money, on big expensive brands, and then you're a month in and your skin looks worse than before, you're like, what did I do?
Exactly right.
Help
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. It's got to get worse before it gets better sometimes. So bird's eye view, like when I look at, I mean, gosh, you go in the face wash aisle at any store, there's 5,000 options. But I mean, even on your site, like there's, you've got like your gel cleanser, your oil cleanser, bar, milk cleanser, bird's eye view. What are the differences?
Main difference is, again, what your skin, the reason I make so many things is everything came from like, oh, I met somebody that has this skin type and this won't work for them. So I wanted to offer, and I'm actually working right now. It's on my site, but it's not perfect yet. So if you guys go on my site and try my new quiz that's there, I'm really trying to hone in on an easy way. I get so many people messaging me every day, like, hey, here's my skin, like what, and I'm happy 100% to give recommendations over the phone, face to face, whatever, all the time. That's not a problem for me. I actually like nerd out. I love doing it. But I want the quiz there for people that don't really want to message me. Or there's a lot of people that don't want to take the time, or are like insecure or whatever. They just
Yeah.
want to see it. And that's going to help break that down for people. Cream cleansers are often a little more gentle. They're cream based or like a butter based. So it's less. I use the word stripping. I know it's a scary word, but it's more, I guess I could say cleansing, like deep cleansing. There's surfactant cleansers. That's where you'll get like a gel cleanser or a foaming face wash. And those do a good job, but they don't leave much left on the skin. Whereas the other end would be like oil cleansing is usually a straight oil. And that leaves something on the skin for people that don't want to like do a full
Yeah.
purge of their biome on their skin. Yeah. And so it's really finding like a good balance. Like when I wash my face, I'm using Ocean, which is a gel cleanser. So it's a surfactant cleanser, but I only use that like twice a week when I do wash my face. Otherwise, I'm going to use just like an oil cleanser. I try to do what feels best, like I said, in the season or in the moment. If I'm out gardening that day and I know that I have like dirt all over my face, I'm going to wash it a little bit better than if I was just like in the house working and like doing laundry. You know what I mean? So I think it's really just a matter of kind of letting your body and your mind and your day to day kind of dictate like what you need that day is kind of how I would put it.
What you're saying about that you don't necessarily need all these things, or like even to wash your face some days. And I, pre having a baby, was like, yeah, wash your face every morning, every night, do all the things because I had the time to do it. And like, frankly, now it's like if I don't have makeup on, but in that care package was the quick cleanse foam. And
I love that.
love it. And I'd say like anyone that's short on time or like new moms where you're like, okay, I feel like I need to wash my face, but I'm dead tired. It's the end of the night. And I just,
Oh, wow. You use that on your face? You can. It's fine.
wait, is it not?
It's a quick cleanse. Yeah. So let me tell you about this. You can totally use it on your face. Go for it. It's might get on your face. I wouldn't suggest it off the top just because it's just it's a surfactant. It's a foaming cleanser, right?
Yeah.
But that's a fun product. So that is made to be like a quick hand wash, like a towel free because it dries. You know what I mean? Like a hand sanitizer. And I also made that when I was potty training my daughter. We were out at stores. So that is a wet wipe foam. So you could take toilet paper and pump it on there and it makes a wet wipe wherever you are. So you could wipe their booties with it and clean your kid without having to carry around the packs of water wipes and all that kind of stuff. It can clean your face. Don't be worried about that. It's fine. But, no, I mean, that's a great interpretation. And nobody's ever told me that before. And that makes actually a lot of sense. And I probably should have thought of that, but it's fine. I mean, it's safe to clean your face with. It's just a gentle cleanser. If you can use it on your baby's butt, you can use it on your face, But that's amazing. That's so funny. So you like a deep cleanse, a real clean face there.
I know that's like the typical millennial, right? Like we grew up on the pink Neutrogena or whatever, or St. Ives, the peach scrub, which is like now we have learned is like scratching our skin, but it's like that was like the thing. It's like,
It like tears your skin off.
exactly. It's like,
I remember. I actually made a product based off of the apricot scrub. I use jojoba beads though, which don't tear your skin off. But it's just so funny. When I made that, people were like, is this like that scrub? And I was like, kind of, yeah. But no, but yeah.
like, but way better.
But way better. I mean, people, nostalgia, man. People love something familiar.
Yeah.
That reminds them of that, it's funny.
Okay, so toners, you mentioned that like personally you use a cleanse and then you use the toner.
I love toners. I suggest toners to a lot of people. So in that, like, you don't need a million steps. You really don't need a toner, really depending again on like what you're working on or working with your skin. I feel like a lot of people that have like acne or inflamed skin, very oily skin could definitely benefit from a toner. A lot of like I have one that has a little salicylic acid in it, so that's great for people that either are trying to work on acne or excess oil production. But Coastal is a peptide toner, and that's really good for anybody. So anybody that comes to me and they're like, I'm just really dry, I just want an extra step for hydration that isn't 100 things. That is where I point them because it's got peptides and ceramides. It's a milky toner. So like you wisp it on and it's like your skin feels like 100% creamier and just beautiful. And it's working on, the things like anti-aging effects and collagen production, and those ceramides help protect. And it's just, I really, really love that toner. And that toner is dear to my heart because I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. And last year I took my kids over to San Francisco to see some family, and just getting out in like at the zoo or on the coast, you smell like the eucalyptus groves. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
It's like redwood and eucalyptus
Yeah.
and the ocean air. And so when I went there, I was like, I want to make a product. I didn't know what product yet. I want to make a product that smells like this, that reminds me of, talking about nostalgia, that reminds me of my home in the Bay Area. And so when I got home, I made it, and it took a couple months. But once I did it, I was like, oh, this is it. And so every time I also use that toner, it's very like comforting and just, it's great. That's why I love it. But I think people, like I said, I have people that are obsessed with using toners. Some people have never used a toner. I think you could get away with doing it or not doing it as a step. But if you are actively working on something, like I said, if you don't just have like clear, normal skin, like you don't really need to add the toner step. Because if you start thinking about it, you have a cleanse, then you have a tone, and then you have a base layer, which we'll, I'm sure, get to next. And then you have a moisturizer, and then you have a serum. And then there's a hydration, like a hydrosol or a mist somewhere in there too, which is like, so you're at like 7 steps at that point. If you do all of them, it's just not necessary. But yeah, I think people that are working on something that have either like inflammatory issues or, excess oil, or, again, super dry and they don't want a base layer necessarily, or they want one or the other, a toner is a good step to go for. Some toners can be drying though, so you also have to, like the ceramide toner is not, it's hydrating, whereas some toners have like either witch hazel or like an alcohol in them or something that's gonna actually dry you out. So you always have to, reading labels, and I know everybody says it, it's so important, and knowing what you're looking at on labels, which a lot of people don't, which is why I'm so happy to educate. But like people, the beauty industry, cosmetics aren't regulated. And so there's a lot of things that, I see brands that are huge and trending, and I look at their labels and I'm like, they're not everything is listed here. There's no way everything's listed here because this product would not look like this if it was,
Right.
So you can hide things in other things, like fragrance is a big one. You can hide paraben-filled preservatives under the label fragrance. You can hide everything. So, it's just really important to start learning like the key things to look at and look for, and then go from there. But yeah, so if you see a toner and it's got alcohol in it and you already have drier skin, like definitely avoid that.
I know. I was so surprised when you said, the word moisturizer with the word toner, because to me, I've always felt of toning as that like strip clean,
Strippy.
probably because the ones I had used in the past are that.
Exactly why I made that milky toner, because I wanted an option for people like me that don't necessarily want to strip all their oil off all the time. That I have normal skin. I'm very lucky. I have a good oil production. I also am constantly balancing, and supporting my skin. That's my job. But I wanted something that felt really good and nourishing. And so, that's my favorite thing right now is that toner. And the beauty balm, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but I gave you one of those.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And that was in my care kit too. And I am like obsessed with it. Yeah. So I was like, oh, yay, another one, because I'm like getting down to the bottom there. So
that's what I have on right now. Actually, I love the beauty balm.
So what category does that fall into? Or are we skipping a category if we?
So that would be like, so anything that is mostly oil, I put in the same category. So balms and serums for me are in the same oil. And a lot of estheticians will tell you to put on your serum, like an oil serum before a moisturizer. And I don't recommend that in my personal recommendations. I think, you want to put everything that's water-based on first, because that's going to absorb into your skin faster. When you put on an oil layer,
it's not going to go through.
It's going to block out that absorption. So typically, like if you're doing a full routine, You'll cleanse, tone if you want to. I always suggest a base layer now because I have so many amazing base layers. And base layers are either like a gel or a water-based serum or something that has whatever you need in it. So that's where like your vitamin C or your hyaluronic acid or your, if you're using peptides, I put all those things in my base layers because it's a great way to add a layer. It absorbs quick. It doesn't feel sticky, but then you'll put your moisturizer on or your serum or both, depending on how many things you want to put on your face. And that your moisturizer is a water-based cream. So there's people that are like, oh, my tallow cream is so moisturizing. And I'm like, no, it's not. Nothing with water is actually going to without water is going to hydrate your skin. So people are like, that are only using butters or oils, it's fine. You're locking all your moisture in, but it's not adding to anything. If you have a great gel or a great base layer that's water-based and doing things for you, and then you just use a balm or like the beauty balm or like butter or tallow or whatever you choose, sure, that's going to lock that in and do a great job. But if you do want a moisturizer, if you are actively dry, a cream moisturizer is very important. And that's where like water and oil mix and they do the things that they need to do before that oil and balm step. So beauty balm would be the last step, in my opinion, because it locks everything in. But that beauty balm is like plant sterols and stem cells, and it's just so amazing, and it's 100% pure. There's no preservatives. It's water free, and it just leaves your skin so good. But yeah, I mean, I think, and that's where people get confused too. It's like, wait, do I need a moisturizer and a serum and a balm and and that's where it's like, I think the best thing is to start small and see what happens, with your skin, and then you can always add those steps if you need more support. And so if somebody comes in and they're like, I want a full routine, I'll usually change 2 things, max 3 for them at a time. And then I'll be like, give it a few weeks. Tell me how your skin's feeling. And if you feel like we need more, then I'll do a moisturizer on top or something. And that's how I usually start with customers because I don't want them to go all in on 5 things and then they're like, wait a minute, this one isn't working for me, because I'm still going to be there for you in 3 weeks to add something. You know what I mean? Like, I love the personal touch, and that's what I built this business on. I want people to trust me and know that like I'm not going to just be like, oh no, sorry, you bought it. I have so many customers that are like, hey, this one didn't work for me, and I will give you something else to try. Like, I'm so confident that I have what you need to get the best skin for you that I will give it to you to prove it. Like, I will, it's passion. Like, that's all it is. So
I know it's almost like I'm sure like a puzzle for you. It's like probably, and the fact that like you didn't.
That's like the fun of it, Brittany. That's the fun of it. So when he comes in, and I've had a lot of people, and it's so humbling, and I don't want to be like, I never want to come across like cocky or conceited ever. I just know like this is what I was meant to do. And like I'm crying a lot, like tears are coming as I'm saying this because it's like, it literally is what I was meant to do. And I know that because things come to me so easily and effortlessly, and like I can just look at you and be like, try this and this and this. And 9 times out of 10, it's exactly it. And I have people messaging me all the time being like, you've changed my skin. It's never looked so good. I'm getting compliments all of a sudden since I switched to these things. And it's just so humbling, and it just makes me feel just so great that I can help people. That's always been something that's been deep rooted in my soul, is like whatever it was, like I knew my life journey was like to help people, and it is this, as silly as it sounds, like this is it. Like, this is what I was made to do, and be a mommy, of course, but like for other people, like this is what I was meant to do.
That's so cool. I mean, I don't think there's a person out there that like, I mean, if they were very truly honest about it, that like doesn't care about what their skin looks like. I mean, it is the first impression piece that, a lot of people come across, and it's also, I mean, I'd say like as a woman, it's hard. It's, I've always been like fairly quote, low tox. And, but it's like gotten to the point where I'm like, am I going to look 5,000 years old if I don't get Botox now? Because I feel like, everybody is doing it. And so,
Oh, see, I was just talking to my customer the other day about that. She's like in her 60s and she's like, everybody's getting Botox. And I said, you are going to look 5,000 times better than everybody else when you're 70 and 80 and 90 that didn't get, like, against people that did get
Yeah.
Botox. Not to
Sure.
do what you want. I don't judge people. Get Botox. Like, if that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
do it. Like, go for it. You're comfortable with that. That's what you want for yourself. Do it. But everybody looks the same. You're injecting botulism into your face. And I honestly, there's a thing about aging gracefully and just being happy with yourself that is going to keep you looking 50 times younger than everybody that is so worried about what they look like that they're going to go alter their face. I mean, imagine how those people actually feel inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people
Yeah.
that get like obsessed with cosmetic procedures and stuff. It's like, when will you actually be happy with yourself? You know, you got to be, it's like with a relationship with them when we were dating, you know, when we were young. It's like you can't actually be with anybody until you are with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're happy with yourself. You love yourself. Loving somebody else doesn't matter if you don't love yourself. It's the
Yeah.
same concept. Like, geez Louise, you know, don't get Botox. No, you can do what you want. Again, I don't judge people, but I think that there's going to come a time when our generation is older and it's going to be really apparent the people that really took care of themselves in the sense of like took care of their self, not just worked out or ate right. It's
Yeah.
like they didn't conform to these things and their skin isn't going to be like falling off their face or whatever. Everybody, like I said, looks the same. You can see all the people that get their lips done, they all look the same. They all look the same. There's like no individualism anymore. And that's sad because we were all made so beautiful and so perfect. And, you know, there's just ways to support that. But you're totally right. It's hard to be a woman, especially this day and age, when it's thrown in our faces 24/7, where beauty is standard and, you know, everybody needs to look a certain way to have a certain lifestyle. And it's just garbage, I think. I think it's stressful.
Yeah. Well, I love that. That I mean, that you're creating products that you don't have to do that, and especially, I mean, yeah, we have a little boy, but I can only imagine if you had little girls to be create, you know, like creating products and a message and being an example for them.
I made a teen line specifically for that, for like teens and tweens. Because again, the world we live in, you know, it's shoving this down people's faces and kids are on the internet. And I was getting, and I still get, my teen line actually does incredibly well because so many kids are going to their moms being like, I want skincare. They see people using skincare at 12 years old, like full routines, you know. And so there's a few brands out there that are big, and they're very expensive.
Yeah, wrinkle. They're anti-wrinkle. You're like, hold on. Yeah.
Right, I know, but there's a few targeted kids brands out there that are really big, but they have hyaluronic acid and they have actives in them, and I'm just like, no, no, these are kids. And again, going back to that like machine, this computer we are, you start giving things to developing. These kids aren't even all the way through puberty, you know, you're altering their biomechanics of their skin production and their, you know, so my teen line has no actives. It's all botanically powered. So like I'm looking at the jelly cleanser right now. You know, it has like rose and like dragon fruit extract and it has snow mushroom instead of hyaluronic acid. So I made a line that looks really cute and packaged beautifully so those teens and tweens can be using skincare, but they're not getting anything that's actually going to like do damage for future. It's all supportive. It's like, you know, acne, I use borage oil and, you know, I have a toner that's tea tree. I'm sorry, that's like witch hazel, hydrosol instead of witch hazel that's stripping. So like, I just kind of tried to do a functional line. And I actually have a lot of grownups that use that line because they want something that's nice, but like not active, you know, or something a step above just like the butter balms and the oils and the salves that they want function, but without the actives, which is fine, which is why I make so many products. I want the mom to come to me that is like, I only use tallow. And I want the mom to come to me that's like, I'm thinking about Botox, but I want to try peptides instead. Like I have those options for both of those ends of the spectrum and everything in between. And it's because I want to offer the highest quality and the best price. That was another reason I started this is I was looking for skincare for myself. And I was like, this is insanity. I'm a one-woman show here. I can charge whatever I want. And so I'm going to charge enough that I'm, getting my money back on what it costs to make these and make a little bit. But I'm not inflating it 10 times like everybody in the industry would. I know what it costs to make these things, and it's crazy. I have one product called Form that's a cream moisturizer, and it's my highest price. It's $46. But it was mimicked after it's better than I made it. I looked at this one product and I was like, I really like this. I don't like that they use these few ingredients, so I'm going to change it. And then I added in these really big collagen extracts and all these things. And that one's $95. So it's half the price and it's the exact same product, if not better, because I'm using higher quality, this, that, and the other. And so that's just like always been my mission. Like and then, I have moisturizers that are $20 too. They're still beautiful and amazing, but it's like, I want to offer every end of the spectrum. Like my goal here is to be like the one-stop shop for people that want functional, effective, transformative, beautiful handmade skincare that they can trust and that they can afford.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, things are crazy expensive these days.
If you have got a facial orthodontist and an esthetician, I feel like that is like next level where it's like, I would need another job just to support my skincare routine.
I mean, in this environment too, our economy is getting so bad. It's like, I don't go to the grocery store without spending less than $300 on nothing. And I'm like, what is happening here? And so I want to make sure that my customers that trust me, that are putting their hard-earned dollars towards me and my products, are getting that bang for their buck. Like I never want somebody to be like, oh, I spent money. We were talking offline earlier. It's like there was a trend a couple years ago about this MLM skincare, and it was very expensive. And so many people bought into the whole system. It's like $300-$400. And then it didn't work out for them. And they're like, oh, but you almost like you have to feel like you have to use it because you spent so much money on it. And I never want that to be, even if you're not spending as much money here, I never want somebody to be like, oh, I bought this and I'm not going to use it because I don't like it. Like that will never be something I'm okay with. Like if you don't like your product, you message me and I will make sure you get one that you do. And I think that
and like,
shows the difference.
Figure out why.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why isn't this working for you? Oh, okay, great. Let's adjust this. Like I've got something else for you, I'm sure. And if not, I can make custom skincare, and I've done custom for a lot of people. A lot of people ask for specific things, and I'm happy to make that for them as well.
So would you say the base, going back to the base layer, is that almost like your treatment? Like you're treating before you're locking it in?
Yeah, yep. So I would say, well, especially with my line, and I mean a lot of products out there, the base layer is usually where you'll get, like I was saying, your actives, and so treatment actives would be like if you were doing like a BHA or like a AHA, like an alpha hydroxy acid, or if you were doing hyaluronic acid, just like hydration support. Vitamin C a lot of times is there when it's like a higher potency, and those come in the forms of serums or gels or mists even. And that's just where you want to put it on before you start putting on your oil and like locking everything in. So like I have copper peptides, which is actually about to go to the co-op, which I'm super excited for. And it's just a gel base layer. One step, it dries really quick, and then you can just add your moisturizer on top. Base layers are also amazing for, that glass skin look that everybody is after. Because if you have the right base layer, it's going to hydrate you, and then you put on your oil or your serum or your moisturizer or whatever, and then your skin looks hydrated. It looks healthy. It gives you that like bouncy little glow. So I think base layers are important. Again, not for everybody, sure. If you have really great skin, you're young, you're not worried about aging at that point. And a lot of times women will come in their early 30s and the perfect skin still. They just had their babies, and it's like you've got great skin, and they're like, oh, I'm worried about aging. And I'll just be like, okay, honey, like, here's what I would suggest for you. You don't need it yet. It's okay to be supportive early. instead of chasing afterwards, chasing for something afterwards. But going to the extreme when it's not extreme yet, I think is something that people do too that can bite them in the butt because you're over treating something that doesn't exist yet. Well, I don't want to get wrinkles. It's like, okay, well, just have a really great routine that supports your collagen and your cell turnover. You don't have to do something that's like aggressive yet, That's the other thing. Like microneedling and lasers, I'm sure they have their place. I've seen so many people though. This one lady, she had a laser treatment done. This is like 6 months ago now. She was just in here the other day and she's better now, but it took her 6 months. It went too deep, I guess. And it burned every layer of skin from her fat.
They're aggressive. Like I've seen that before and afters, and it's almost like they got burned.
Dude, her face was sandpaper. Her face was sandpaper for like 6 months. And so she came to me, and the only thing that worked for everything made her skin hurt. And so I made her just a custom basic moisturizer. Yeah. She was like, I need to put something on it. And it really helped her. And now she's using like the plumping peptide serum and like my functional moisturizer because her skin is healed. But it's like, you never know. You do these treatments, like you never know what your reactions are going to be. And then it's like, I don't know. Maybe when I'm 60, I'll have a different approach on aging, but I really think I'll be sitting at 60 being like, I'm so glad I supported my skin instead of like going and doing things that I can't reverse or like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to base layers. Yeah. So I think a base layer is a great place for pretty much anybody that is wanting to add some form of a treatment step. Again, it could just be hydration. Sometimes, especially in the summer here in Idaho and in the winter, actually, both seasons, you know how dry it gets in winter. And at night, you wake up and your skin's like, ah. And then in the hot summer, I think a great step would be a base layer to really like hydrate, give that vitamin C for keeping your tone and texture. If you are into peptides for your skin or actives, that's a great place to put them as well. And then, coming in winter is when I suggest more of the balms, like the heavy oils, especially at nighttime, because our skin is just like dying for moisture in this winter air and the heat while you're sleeping. Your heater's on all night, it's freezing outside. So that's what, and people can use balms in summer too, heavier things, but it's a little less necessary because your skin is more actively producing oil in the summertime because of the heat. Pores are open and you're sweating. And
can we, I know it's off topic, but not really.
Yeah.
Peptides. Hear about them all the time. Feel like it's super hot right now. Don't really know much about it or understand. Can you, like, bird's eye view, like, what is a peptide and how's it working?
Yeah, so it's just basically like, people are using peptide. You're probably hearing them two different ways. Some people are like injecting them for different things, whether it's like recovery, muscle things, gut issues. And I'll be honest with you, I am not fully sold on peptides internally yet. What peptides do is they like proliferate cell repopulation, regrowth, regeneration. And you think about a rogue cell in your body, we don't know what that's going to do. It's just like,
long term,
yeah, it's anything we don't know long term. You're seeing all these studies coming out now about people that are taking like tirzepatide and retatrutide and or whatever, and Ozempic, and it's a few years later after it was like everybody's on Ozempic, and now it's like, oh man, all these people are suffering all these autoimmunes, all these issues, all these things. So it's the same thing, and I never wanted to jump on a bandwagon ever. Like I'm gonna be like, I'm a sit back and watch kind of person and then make my informed decision based on my observances. But I think peptides for the skin are great because they're doing that on a cellular level for your skin. So just with regeneration, cell turnover, collagen production, it's another avenue. There's peptides, there's acids, there's amino acids, there's collagen itself, bee venom, white cell bee venom, it's the same thing. It's just different avenues for it, and different skin will react differently for it. I've been really liking my plumping peptide serum because it has like an 8-chain peptide in it, and one of them does what Botox does, but it's like long game. So what Botox does is it freezes your muscle, right? So when you do this, and they can't see me, but I'm squinching my over time that muscle gets indented, and that's why you get a crease there or whatever. When you get Botox there, it freezes the muscle. And so it doesn't do that anymore. That crease goes away. This peptide, again, it's a long game approach. If you're not going to inject it, you have to be willing to be like, okay, I'm going to support my skin instead. But using it every day, it relaxes that muscle over time. So that indent will get less and less and less because it's just naturally being relaxed over time, not with an injection and a one-stop shop and botulism in your face. It's just over time. And that's called SNAP-8. It's an octapeptide. But what it does is it helps tone, texture, firm skin because it's turning over the cells there, which help build up that buoyancy or whatever where you need it, help with that muscle squinching. What is it called? Like a repetitive motions in those areas, et cetera, et cetera. So they're really interesting. Copper peptides is the same thing in essence, but copper is showing so many amazing things for even rosacea and acne. Like copper peptides really, I mean, think about copper. A lot of people use copper in different ways. It's a really, really amazing element. But it really helps with all different types of skin issues, as well as just like hydration and cell turnover and support. Same thing like I was saying, but I see a lot of people that have acne and inflammatory or rosacea or issues like that use copper, and it really helps calm that down, which is nice too. So that's a good offering that I give people that come in that want something. Maybe they don't want an acid, because a lot of times when you have inflammatory, acid will really irritate it more, or it'll burn a little bit. So if you're very sensitive and red, a copper peptide is a good way to go too. But I think, well, like I said, with anything I watch and see, I trust my intuition very much. And I think that's really important for everybody. But I love the idea of peptides on the skin. Maybe that will change. But for now, I'm totally comfortable with that. I'm comfortable suggesting them. But as far as internal goes, let's do our research. Let's see what happens. It's just like with anything. Things become trendy. And then a year later, people are like, I wish I didn't do that. It's like, oh gosh,
Yeah, the peptides are hot, but the topical application makes total sense. And
it's different than you're shooting into your veins. Sure, everything gets absorbed in your skin, but a one application a day on your face isn't going to completely change your cellular structure somewhere else in your body. It's just not.
Yeah.
And as many people are like, oh, our skin is our largest organ. It is, which is why you need to support it with the right things. But injecting it straight into your blood is 100% different and more targeted and more concentrated. And anybody that wants to fight me on that is crazy.
You're like, I will send you the research.
I do want to say, preservatives are another thing. People are like, oh, so I have to use preservatives, right? In anything that contains water, any product that contains water, I have to use a preservative. A lot of DIY home people don't, and they say, oh, my product's fine. But it's like when I was going through and I'm still studying everything, the bacteria and the stuff that grows that you can't see and can't smell is there. And it's 100 times worse for you than the 0.5 preservative that I'm using. I'm going to do this real quick. And I think it's very important, especially for all the mommies and all the people that listen to your show, because there's one preservative that's been blacklisted in the natural group, and it's phenoxyethanol. And I'm sure you've seen that around a million times. And what's interesting about phenoxyethanol is it is really the only straightforward preservative that's going to do what it says without changing the pH, the structure of the product. It's not going to turn into formaldehyde. It's not a releaser. It has no phthalates. It's gonna, it's like, I actually like phenoxyethanol in my skincare because being the manufacturer as well, I can put in. So 0.5% is what I use typically in all of my products. That's 0.5% of the whole formula.
Yeah.
If I'm using any other preservative, it's 2 to 5% of the whole formula is a preservative, which is silly. That's taking up more than my actives. Most actives are 2 to 4 to 5%, when it's a potent active. So I look at things like that. it's funny because there's one preservative on the market that's widely accepted in major skincare brands that are natural, and that's like radish root, right? When I first started making skincare, I was on this deep dive, and I'm a part of these chemist groups, and everybody's like laughs at any business that's using that as their main preservative because this is going to be scary, and a lot of people might be mad about this, but there was a study, it's on PubMed still, but it's been buried. It's never been refuted, and I can still find it if you search for it. They did a blind study, a test on the radish root, and what was actually doing the preservation in the product was the byproduct of extraction. So what they used to extract and make the fermented radish root preservative was what was actually preserving, not the radish root itself.
Interesting.
And what that were these salts and acids that are totally like not reef safe. They are paraben forming, but the manufacturer doesn't need to put that there. So what's actually preserving that product isn't necessarily fermented radish root. You have to think about fermented radish root is a bacteria. Preservatives are meant to keep bacteria away in skincare. Like this makes no sense. And so I started going down this rabbit hole. I had to get comfortable with using phenoxyethanol because I was in the same boat. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like one of the ones that people say no. But it's not a paraben releaser. And again, because I'm in control of it, I get to use the least amount. If I wanted to use a different preservative that wasn't a paraben releaser, the pH would adjust, meaning it wouldn't be as effective because it would either drift down or up, which is either going to burn your skin or going to just kill all the actives completely. I would never use anything that's formaldehyde, phthalates, sulfates, stuff like that. So those are off the table. So the only options left are fermented radish root, and I don't trust it. And I had to have to use that at like 5-6% and use like benzoate or something to go behind it to make sure it works. And so at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this. I'm going to have full faith in it because I get to control it, I'm not dumping in 10% of my formula. And that's the other thing. You look at a product on any shelf and 1% is maybe their active, 90% is water, the rest is preservative. Like, what are you even putting on your skin,
Right.
Whereas all of my products, I'm like, okay, so if I'm making a cream and it calls for 78% water, I'm not going to use just water. I'm going to use a hydrosol that has botanical actives in it. I'm going to make sure that the butter I'm using is raw and unrefined. I'm going to make sure that it still has, its potent natural qualities. So those are the things that, like, when I'm formulating, I take into consideration. I want every ingredient to be doing something for you. Versus 1 little percent and the rest is filler. There's like 0 filler in any of my products.
I could talk about this all day, and I think listeners that are listening are probably, it's like every time you answer a question, the reasoning makes sense, and then it brings up another question, like, okay, wait, why do you want raw, and why do you want unrefined, and and like I could think of all these questions, and
we'll schedule another chat, Brittany.
Yeah. But I think the important thing is, like, for listeners, whatever you're using as your skincare, or the big companies, or you're in the grocery aisle, you don't get to ask those questions. You don't really understand the why behind the ingredients versus just listening to you. It's like so clear that every ingredient has a why. And if I want to know why, that, like, I can reach out to you and ask. And even on your site, I mean, there's so much education.
People text me all the time. Once they get my number, it's like, it's free reign. I don't mind it. I love it. Honestly, I get random texts like, hey, I'm looking at this. Like, is this good for me? And I'm like, yep, go for it. Yeah, I think the most important thing, though, for the listeners, especially if they aren't buying my stuff yet, you can always reach out to me. But if you're shopping anywhere and you're looking at things to buy, great. Just look at the label. I think less is usually more. The fewer the ingredients that you understand what they are, the better. I wouldn't be afraid of phenoxyethanol. If you are, open your mind to it. It's literally like, at 0.5% of the drop of cream you're putting on your face, it barely exists, and you're doing more damage outside in the air breathing on your skin and body than you are putting that on. But above that, just, I think a big one is like petroleum-based ingredients, and usually you can see it like propylene, glycol, stuff like that. things that sound like that are usually what you don't want. Film formers are another thing. Those are like plasticizers, basically. And that's what, you'll put something on your skin and be like, well, my skin felt amazing right away. If it's not a clean brand, most likely it's from like a film former. And you don't want that on your face every day. You really don't. Like, those are the things. Just look at a few ingredients, the dirty dozen or whatever that you want to stay away from. And I would start there. But, asking, having a good resource is always important when you're learning, just to know what to avoid, the main things. And fragrance is one of them. People try to sell you on clean fragrance for like candles and perfume and skincare. And regardless, no matter which way if they're certified to not release all these crazy carcinogens, like, okay. But again, nobody needs to actually disclose what's in fragrance. So even if a brand's like, I'm super transparent about my fragrance, there's no phthalates, no Prop 65 on it. Like, it's clean. It's still a synthetic scent that was created in a lab that they don't have to tell you. It's like fermented radish root. They don't have to tell you that it was made from paraben extraction, because the end result, they don't have to say anything. It's not regulated. So I stay away from fragrance 100%. I don't burn candles in my home unless they're like 100% beeswax. But I have kids. You're the same now. Like, you don't want to have a flame. So I'm not going to have candles in my house. But like, even diffusers, like, I'll do diffusers every once in a while with like therapeutic grade essential oils. Fine. But I just think anything that, it's just such a marketing trickery around here in this industry that like anything can get hidden under certain words, and just trying to be aware of that is key. And not stressing out about it is the other thing. I know it can be easily stressed about, especially after the things we've talked about, but the stress about not being super clean is actually probably doing more damage than using the thing,
Yeah.
So just trying to be as informed as possible. Using your brain is very important. If you pick up a product and it's like poly blah, 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 and it's a super long name, and it sounds like it's probably plastic or oil derived. It probably is. Anything with less than like 20 ingredients you're probably fine. 15 ingredients. But, just trying to start finding the 1, 2, or 3 things to avoid is important. Fragrance would be my top, because that is like a blanket umbrella term in cosmetics, and anything can hide under it.
Did I make up that you make perfume?
No, you didn't make it up. I have 2 perfumes that I offer. They're essential oils, and I use it's really just like grape alcohol and essential oils. That's all it is. So it smells like alcohol at first go, because it's funny. Perfumer alcohol, which fine, a lot of people use, has all kinds of other ingredients in it that help it like stick to your skin longer. And these are those things, I look at everything and I'm like, do I even want to offer that? I really wanted a perfume that I loved. And so I made 2, actually. One of them is called Coastal, too, to go along with my Peptides. It's a very oceany kind of eucalyptus grove kind of smell. But then the other one is like dark and sultry. And so it's literally just like basically ethanol, but it's grape alcohol at the highest percentage, and then essential oils. So
Yeah.
the alcohol smell dissipates, but the essential oils stick for a good amount of time. I mean, it's as natural as you can get for perfume. Also, I can do it in oil rollers, which is a little cleaner, obviously, because I'm using I usually use avocado or argan oil. But yeah, I do offer those. I'm such a perfume person. I do buy one perfume in my life, and I'll admit that openly. And it's from a brand called Fern, and they are French based, and they use all organic. Like, they source these incredible essential oils, and it's just amazing. And it's like a subscription service. I got bought into it, but every time they send out a new season, like perfume, I'm just obsessed with it. I've always loved perfume since I was a kid. It's funny, one of my earliest memories that I was like picking flowers and making perfume, which is funny thinking back now because of what I do.
Yeah, I was like yeah.
But like, I remember putting it in a cup with water and covering it, and the next day I smelled it, and it smelled awful because like the flower was like it's like degrading or sticky. But like, it's just, it's just funny when you think about those things, like this natural, like this is what I was always meant to do. Again, like even as a kid, I wanted to make these things. But yeah, no, so I offer those, and then my hair care line is amazing. Didn't I just give you some hair care? Did you try it?
Yeah, and I've been using it. Yeah, so we just got back in town, but I have it in my home shower here, so I've only got to use it once, but I and yeah, it feels good, and that's another thing. So listeners, you'll get on Boise Tonic Co's site, and we're talking about skincare primarily today, but you will see that she has also formulated hair care, some makeup, the perfume that we touched on, men's beard products. I've got my husband using a hair clay, teas, tinctures, home care products.
Yeah, as I grow, I would love to expand, and that's the long-term goal. I'm not trying to rush anything. Everything's been very organic as I've grown. I'd like to keep it that way, but I would love somebody to take over like the wellness part for me and help expand that. I don't have, I just brought teas on, which I love because I love blending teas, and this gut tea that I make is just so delicious. It's like I look forward to it every night now, but I don't have a lot of time because I'm so nerdy about skincare that like that's my primary focus, and just creating like the best possible products. So one day I'll have a department head that runs wellness, and those products will get amped up a little bit more. But I do try to offer a little bit of everything. I have tea and bath care and tinctures and wellness stuff. So like fire cider, elderberry. I have tinctures for all things like digestion and postpartum mommies. I usually suggest like a lemon balm tincture just to help keep their peace of mind right, and all kinds of stuff. It's really fun. And like I said, if I think of something that I need, if I can make it, I'm gonna make it, you know.
Yeah, that's that's so cool. And then for those of us out there, like I'm similar, and but it's also like, yeah, it's a time thing, and if you don't have the time to do that or the know-how, I think there's a lot of like we can get online and it's like, oh, make your own XYZ, but yeah, there's a ton that we don't know, and is that really what you need? And so, I would say that yeah, Boise Tonic Co through Jack, like you can get well what you actually need or what you want without having to take the time to either make it yourself or like the ingredients that she has access to that she's researched, and then yeah, talk to her. You got a question, email. I will get you in a second to give all the info about like where people can look, where they can find you, but I think that the biggest thing is knowing what's what you're putting on your face, on your body, in
On your
body.
babies, also very important.
Or if you on your babies. Yeah, if you don't have the time to research it, like
Find a resource.
find a group that you trust where it's like you don't have to research every ingredient because you know that they have your same goals in mind.
Right, exactly. And I think that's really important. And a lot of customers over the years say that to me. And they're like, I trust you. I'm happy to always educate. And when a new product comes out, I'm always like, this has this in it. And the reason I chose that. And they're like, I trust you. Like, they don't even need to know the answer. And I think that shows a huge level of trust and just amazingness. Like, I'm never going to put something in something that I'm not going to use. Like, I literally use every single one of my products. I look at the alternatives and I make sure it's better than that 100%. So, if I'm not your resource, totally fine. But like, find a good resource. And that's also important. Talk to your skincare maker. If you support local and you're not local to Boise, even if you are local to Boise and you don't use my brand, fine, but just talk to them because there is a lot of like I say scary, maybe it's not scary to everybody, but like there's a brand here locally that buys stuff in bulk from a bulk manufacturer, and then they bottle it and then they put their label on it. So, and maybe you're fine with that and fine. But she's like, I'm a local business. It's like, yep, you are a local business, but do you tell people that you aren't making this? You could just be like, hey, I found this really amazing product that I don't make, but I want to sell it. Start there. I feel like misconception and misleading is highly, I think it's very real, especially with such an amazing community like Boise and the surrounding Treasure Valley. Like this community is crazy for supporting local and finding good stuff and supporting it. I've never seen a community driven support system like this town that we live in or this area. And so coming into a business, any business, I heard from this lady, she's a coffee, they brew their own and roast their own beans. And she's like, you'd be surprised how many people say they roast their own beans and they go to Costco and they buy in bulk and they package them under their brand and they say,
Mhm.
so it's the same thing. It's like you really want to talk to the people you're buying things from and be like, why do you make this? Or do you make this? And then like giving the education behind it. Are you just trying to make tallow because it's trendy and you can make some money? Why? Tallow, yeah, I make tallow. I've been making tallow though since 2021, and I don't suggest tallow for everybody. There's tallow makers that are like, oh, eczema, dry skin, blah 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 blah. Like this is for you,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
not. It's like everything. It's like not. It's not going to work for everybody. There's a very
Like
select
a low
group.
tox cure all. Like in like I feel like the low tox community. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they convince people of. But the amount of sourdough bread maker, tallow maker businesses in our town is insane. And again, nothing wrong with that. Girls, moms, if this is your passion, go for it. If it's your passion, you're going to be successful, wildly successful, go for it. But if you're just jumping on a bandwagon, there's 400 other moms out there that are doing the same thing as you. And so you better be passionate about it enough to like stand out and stand behind your product and not give false information and that kind of stuff. And so that's where I feel like people get tripped up a lot. Everybody wants to make a buck. And again, I fully support like my markets that I do here. They're all mama owned businesses. This one in August is 30 mama owned businesses that are all clean and vetted and beautiful and curated. And, but that's the thing. Like if you're going to do it, you do it and you commit to it, and you better be ready to like be authentically you. Don't try to sell people on something you're not, because they're going to find out, and then it's like where do you want to be on that side of it? Like are you selling marketing, or are you selling yourself because you
Yeah.
fully
And you're on the fat, and so research comes out, and then if you didn't do the research yourself, you're fall victim just like everybody else did. Yep. So you ship, right? So if they're outside of the Boise area.
Oh yeah, I ship. Yep, I ship everywhere, and so you can go on my website at www.boisetonic.co.com, and that's a good place to start. It is a little overwhelming, I will say. I have a big website that needs to be edited. Again, I'm a one-woman show, so some things fall by the wayside, like full details and descriptions, but I am working on it. Please give me a little grace. And then, my Instagram is a great place to go to find out all the information on events and sales and new products on Instagram. It's just Boise Tonic Co. And yeah, like those are probably the best two places to kind of see what's going on with me. And then if you're local, I'm in both the North End and the Meridian Boise co-ops, as well as a few other stores around town. I'm in like Victory Gardens and Modern Apothecary downtown, and Femme Foundry, which is amazing, owned by formerly Stina Face, and she's just amazing. Christina Cratch. She's a lot like me with makeup. She makes they formulate all their own products, and they're very women driven and authentic and just so amazing. So there's a bunch of places you can find me. Those are the best places. But if, you want questions specifically, you can either email through the website or just boisetonico@gmail.com, or you can message me directly on Instagram. Like I'm the only person that looks at all that, and I am quick to respond, and I love to chat, and I love to give recs and help guide. And
Awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much for taking the time. I feel like, we will probably have to have you on another time, because I just want to talk all day about all the things. But listeners, I will have everything linked in the show notes. And listeners, you will be hearing more from me about Boise Tonic Co. products in our favorite things segment. Y'all know I love at the top of my regular episodes to do favorite things. And so I have been trying out Boise Tonic Co. products, and I'll be highlighting them. Again, what works for me might not be right for you. So if I'll explain what I'm loving about it and why I'm loving it and that kind of thing. And then if you are in a similar boat, you can try it out, or go to the contact form or reach out on Instagram to Boise Tonic Co. to find out if it is the right fit for you. All right. Thanks everybody for your time. And thank you especially to Jacqueline.
that was fun, Brittany. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Untraditionally Traditional. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with those special people who would love it too, and write a review. For more tips and photos of my home and garden, follow Untraditionally Traditional Pod on Instagram. Until next week, let's continue to make our homes places of joy and service to ourselves and those we share them with.